Welcome to the Blueprint Show. I'm your host, Honcho. We're here at 1865 Steak Seafood and Cigar Lounge on 3813 Georgia Avenue Northwest. Thank you everybody for coming out real quick. You can find us on YouTube at FMTV. You can find us on Facebook at House of Honcho. Want to thank y'all tuning in, checking what we getting ready to discuss. It's been heavy on my mind for a while now. Finally got the gall to have a conversation. Reason I say gall is, in recent years, I'm just gonna be blunt, heterosexual males starting to feel silenced. Starting to feel like we don't have a voice. Starting to feel like we have lost a sense of who we are. So I put together a 5-episode series on masculinity. This is part 1. Y'all ready to dig into this?
Yes.
Start with definition. Definition of masculinity. Qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of men or boys. Now, let's dig into this definition. Have we lost our way in terms of qualities and attributes that speak to who we are as men?
I would say so. Because let's deal with the millennial generation. Oftentimes they haven't really seen men as you and I have seen men.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who was authority in the house, in the neighborhood. Watch them go to work every day. A lot of them grew up with the notion of someone else doing it for them. So therefore, what happens is they run to mama real quick and ask for everything. And then if she don't come with it right away, it's a situation where they wait. In our generation, we were gonna get it how we were gonna get it. We'd talk about it, but we had role models, we had uncles, people, guys in the neighborhood. You don't really have that anymore because you got guys now who are shooting the crowd to get one person and hurt everybody else but the person.
Right.
So the moral concept is gone in the sense of when you're gonna be a man, you're gonna think about things first.
Right.
And right now, what we do, we reaction.
Right.
We just do.
Right.
Without the thought of how much damage am I going to cause.
Everybody act off emotion.
There you go. Right.
What you got?
I think one of the biggest things that is happening right now is there's no men in the house, right? And a lot of times it's not voluntary, it's involuntary, right? So you got a man that want to be in the house, but based on the relationship of the mother and the father, you're not able to be in the house. Based on the relationship that you and the mother had. You can want to be a part of your child's life 125%, but because you and the mother may not see eye to eye, she rather hurt you by keeping you outside the life of the child rather than co-parenting and do what's best for the kid, right? So doing what's best for the child should always be first. But what happens is you take the personal feelings and use that as a stop sign to take care of your kid. But what's told is the father's not there, the father's not doing this, the father's not doing that. When you're not allowing the father to be a father, right? You holding the father out because how you feel for the father.
See, that's called retribution. You don't want to
be. The key word that he used, and I think the key word he used was voluntary. So I'm gonna change that word because now I think we're in a society where you go from voluntary to voluntold. And when you're voluntold, you do what you're told to do, which means that you don't get the chance to really teach because you're being told what to do. So therefore, you don't have that opportunity to really learn from your mistakes, to really know the steps, and it's always in order. in which things should flow.
Right.
That's how we grew up. When we grew up, there was an order in which things were done. There was an order to the household. When you got up, there was an order. You made your bed, you brushed your teeth, you washed your face. There's no order anymore.
So I'm apologize in advance. I'm a side note. These wings good as a mother. Which is why I'm eating while Butter talking, but I understand. So let me get this straight. Are you saying that we've been emasculated?
I'm not going to completely say that we've been emasculated. What I will say is that there is a large generation of men who have lost their way.
Okay.
Not necessarily emasculated.
Okay.
Because we still have some jokers out here, they straight soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
But they divert all of their attention in the wrong direction, in the wrong manner.
Mm-hmm.
They still men, but they don't have that moral compass for respect that we had when we were growing up.
Okay.
When we were growing up, fact was the older generation of babies were always off limits. Nowadays, you have the youngsters who don't even have respect for themselves. So because they don't have respect for themselves,
keep going.
of course, they
All the way down.
be able to. They aren't going to be able to really find their way, or more so, guide the youngsters that live in the neighborhoods in which they live in.
Okay.
So I think that's the problem.
Let me throw this out there, because I sit around, I talk to a bunch of fellas, talk to a bunch of women. I get ideologies from a lot of people. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Our generation, and when I say our generation, I'm speaking in terms of anyone right now that is between the ages of 45 and 55. That generation of men has been taught wrong. Here's why I say that.
Okay.
Look.
Is that a declarative statement?
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. Here's why I say that. That generation of men has been one of the first generations of men to grow up without a father. So you get a single parent mother that is teaching you what to look out for in a woman versus how to treat a woman. You get a mother that is teaching you how to protect your mother and put your mother ahead of any other woman that comes into your life. Add to that, there's the intensive growth of hip-hop rap music. So we get into a culture of where you go from Temptations, Four Tops, Spinners, crooning the women, to we don't love these hoes. See what I'm saying? So now you get into an aspect of we only glorify or look at a man as being one way. So all of the other aspects of being a man is trial and error.
See, I think that's painting all men with the broad brush.
It's never all. What it is though, majority rules. So when you look at a culture shift, that's majority ruling. It's never all. It's going to always be some men that still stand true to our morals and our ethics of what is called being a man.
Okay, I
But
just
when
say
you
that based on when you said
right,
that generation from
right,
45 to 55 were raised on the statement.
right, because that's where the culture shift began. So for example, you're talking toxic masculinity, right? So when you talk toxic masculinity, what toxic masculinity is by definition is it's trying to remove what we deem the alpha male from being masculine, because it's about removing that dominance, that violence, and that control that alpha males have in their mind, in order to climb the ladder, if you will, to provide, protect, and profess for their family. Toxic masculinity removes those three elements. If you remove those three elements from a man, what do you have?
Understood, but with that culture shift, I think that would lend itself more so to more likely the area in which you live. I really wouldn't say that in the DC area there was a culture shift where hip hop took over. We listened to hip hop, we appreciated hip hop, but in this area, go-go was always first and foremost. So when you say hip hop kind of changed and did a culture shift, the culture of hip hop started to grow and really take hold during that era, and it just grew from there. But today's hip hop is not the same hip hop we grew up with.
Right.
So the words that were being stated in the messages now in today's hip hop is completely different, in my opinion, from the hip hop that we grew up on, where we could more so enjoy it.
But that's what I think Paul is saying. Because let's go back to like the Four Tops, like he said, when they was talking about love and being with a woman and being expressive to her. Nowadays, the music talks about making her just a hoe. She's a bitch. She's no more than that. So in that dynamic, it's changed. Now, even to the go-go. Go-go might be go-go music, but a lot of what they do is rap music along with their, as far as making it lyrical to a go-go beat. Right, so.
But it's always been that way, right? If you look at it, for the longest time, there's a big change if you go to a Chuck show, to a Groover show. There's a long change if you go to a backyard show, to air raid show. Two different shifts, right? But at the end of the day, it's all on how you take it, how you party, right? I can go out and party with a backyard band all night long and go home and read my daughter a book.
Right.
And make sure she go to bed good.
I get it.
And it's 100. I think the difference is when you speak on toxic masculinity, I think the biggest difference is what does a man see himself as? Right? If a man sees himself as a man, there's a difference. And I say that because I know there's a shift between single parent households and having two parent households. But you got somebody got two households, still go murk a nigga on 8th Avenue, no problem, go home and sleep good. He got both parents, great job, but he portrays that. Right? Back in the day, you had families you looked up to that you knew wouldn't accept that type of bull if you did it.
So again, you're speaking to what I'm saying. I'm talking about the culture shift. Yeah, the culture shift, I had this conversation all the time. Summer of '88 is pivotal in the black community. The reason it's pivotal in the black community is because, just keep it 100, we glorify the street. So prior to the summer of '88, there were rules, there were morals, there were ethics. There was a code. After that summer of '88, the present, there was no code.
Why 88 market?
Why? I mean, that's crack era, that's Reagan economics, that's all of that. Right? No, it started before that, true. I mean, feminist movement started 1800. But we're not going to get into when it started. We focusing on when it started to make an impact, when that culture started to shift. So when that culture started to shift, you got a bunch of men that turn their back on their responsibilities as a parent. So you got men being raised by women. It is what it is.
Fact. So you're saying the origin of this, which I'll go with you. You said the origin of this started with broken homes, broken families.
That's one of them.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm glad you said that.
It's more to it than that.
Okay. Good.
For all intents and purposes, folks, if you don't know and you've been living under a rock the past 50 years, everything we're discussing now has been done by design. It's systematic. Right. If you don't believe that, I suggest you do some research. Right. But it's systematic. What we're talking about right now is how it has gotten to the point that it has affected the everyday male.
So let me speak to the whole music piece real quick since I am a DJ. So I DJ for women. So I have, of course I'm an R&B head, so I love R&B. But the women hit the floor when it's shake that ass, twerk that ass, yeah, bitch, da-da-da-da-da-da. That's all they want to do at once is shake and twerk and pop. That's what they want to hear. So in order for it to be a shift, and I'm not pointing fingers or whatever, the shift has to start with the women. The men do what they do for women. So if the women stop listening to it and stop wanting to be called it, then you got to do something different. Just like with the whole, I guess thugged out mentality or whatever. If women stop flocking to those guys and start flocking to 9-to-5ers and dudes that wear suits, then we can solve part of the problem. Part of the problem is that women are attracted to the ruggedness of street guys or, whatever. That's part of the problem. And the men just make the music that the women want to hear. So I have to play certain songs, the Cardi B's, the Megan Thee Stallions, the Futures, and all of them are talking. It's supposed to be, women empowerment or whatever. But if I don't play it, they looking at me like I'm crazy.
I gotta tell you.
Okay, I agree with you, but also like to say a little bit something about that. We can't put the burden of masculinity on being a man.
No,
Thank you.
I know what you said. I'm just making sure because the women. I say it this way: women set the mating rate. So whatever the woman does, a man is going to, and that's in some instances, men are going to do the stuff that'll get.
Not an alpha male.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. Because but that's what I'm getting at. Because I think some of the terminology started off with masculinity.
Correct.
And we said that it was basically pertaining to men and boys. Boys don't know how to be boys, and men don't know how to be men. And those are two separate developmental cycles that we probably need to talk about maybe in these points. But the thing that I think we're missing is what they're calling like masculinity is really misogynist. Now, a man being, thinking of women are trash, that's not masculine. That's misogynistic.
Right.
That's not being a man. That's not growing up.
Right.
Respecting a woman.
Right.
Being misogynistic.
Right.
So I'm a little lost on that because if you look at this area, women like projects. They want a man that they can build up, right?
Right.
They look for men that live with their mother in the basement. They look over the men that's, making a certain dollar figure that's about their business, about their family. They don't want that man. Right. They want the man that, because they make good money, they want the man that they can control.
Right.
And that they can actually say who, what, why, where, and when. Right? If you look at nowadays, you find more women because the national average salary in DC is higher than anywhere else other than LA. Right? So the majority of women in DC, my opinion, is that they want projects they can build up, they can control. Right. They don't want men that's already established because now once I'm established, you can't control it. Right. We can work together, we can't sing together. Right? So when I'm established and I'm there, now we have to have a compromise. Right. There has to be a conversation between you and I. But if you have someone, if she has someone that she knows is not on her level, she owns the narrative of that. Right. She can control who, why, when, where, and what. Right. And she walks the streets as that. Right. But she's walking in a dream because that man is not the complete person that she needs. Right.
That's an interesting theory.
It is interesting, but I'm going to disagree.
I disagree too.
I disagree
too.
From the standpoint of, I don't think women necessarily want projects or reclamation projects.
Right.
I think that there's a boundary that must be discussed because so many women have been hurt for so long that their walls are up, and it's just incumbent upon that right person, that right time to be able to, when those walls be brought to the point where you can really see what I'm actually about.
There you have it.
Where I can lead and not miss it.
There you have it.
The whole fact.
So, wait a minute.
hurt you?
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Because I'm going to disagree with 2 points. I got to double back to that. I'm going to disagree with your point regarding the music. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
What we don't understand about women is women do things amongst their girlfriends that in no way, shape, or form they feel is a representation of how they deserve to be treated.
Right.
So just because that's what they want to dance to, that doesn't mean that they want to be treated what we think comes along with that type of dancing and blah, blah, blah. Those are facts.
That's
So-
not facts, but okay.
No, it is facts. Ask any woman, she'll tell you.
I am in the club.
You're in the
bro.
club. What I'm telling
trying
you
to
is
tell you.
have these conversations with women. They're going to tell you exactly what I said.
Women tell you anything.
So here's what happens. And this is where this whole conversation is going, which is exposing the flaw. As a man, especially when you are an alpha male, you do what you're supposed to do, regardless of what she do. If that's how she want to present herself, that's on her. You do what you're supposed to do. What you'll find is when you're doing what you're supposed to do, the woman that is supposed to be for you will show her face. But if you constantly chasing what you seeing in the club because that's what they like, next thing you know, you caught up. You got 3 different baby mamas because you liking the ass clap when you hitting from the back. You got all of these, you falling into all of these negative stereotypes within our community because you're paying attention to the wrong thing.
Yeah,
and this goes back to why I said that age bracket, things we were taught were wrong.
See, I still say it's something about that.
You're right.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say that.
I'm gonna keep it 100, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm gonna keep it 100.
Go ahead.
It's a very difficult thing to admit the way you were raised and some shit you were taught were wrong. That's a very difficult thing to admit.
There's nothing wrong to admit if it's facts. But once again, I'm gonna go back to that particular year. I can tell you from 89, I graduated college in 94. So from 89 to 94, those years at an HBCU, Full State.
I was there. I know.
I know I was there too.
I was there.
Hey, I don't remember you.
We're not going to get into that.
We're not gonna get it. What you did now? That's all I'm
Different stuff.
Yeah.
Different majors, you know.
I can tell you we were doing different things.
Right. Right.
He was a good guy.
We were not.
But I would say during that time, we did not have or foresee back then that things would be where they are now. Correct. We were completely different back then. So in terms of a culture change, we were still of that ilk of our parents. So we were still. I mean, because our fathers, if they were in our lives, and not everyone had a father in their lives, but those of us that did have father or male role models, back then it was old school lessons that were being taught. And we were taught to be a man's man. Right. So that 88, that's where I'm having that problem with it.
So
right now, when I came out in 94, it was still, men were still men, there were still boundaries in terms of, respecting women, and you really didn't.
You sure?
Yeah.
We went to the same college, right?
We still respected women. See, the thing
Sure.
is,
Let-
no. See, here's the difference.
You want me to say it different? I can tell you the difference. You want to know the
You
difference?
might tell me for you.
Uh-uh.
I'm telling you for
No,
me.
it's for us.
No, it's not for
You want to know the difference?
What's the difference?
We didn't publicly humiliate them.
Which was leading to what I was going to
Right.
say, which was
We still didn't respect them.
No. We held a level of respect.
No, we didn't.
We did. We respected women to the point that they respected themselves.
That's
Right,
my
that
whole
is.
point.
Right.
But that's my whole point.
But we
Because
respect the women.
because as an alpha male, here's what happens as an alpha male. If she's moving in a way that is not conducive to the way we move,
We left it alone.
we leave it alone.
Exactly.
However, we didn't totally leave it alone. It was, I couldn't marry her, but she fat as a motherfucker. I couldn't bun her, I can't be seen with her, but her head good as a... We didn't totally leave it alone. And that's my point when I speak to the way we were raised, some things were wrong.
Yeah, well,
Because
it was easy to leave her alone because it was 3 or 4 more that was following right behind her. So you could leave that one alone because you had 3, 4 more. on
but
that.
leaving alone means you don't involve or engage at all.
Right.
We engage, we just compartmentalize it.
But the whole key to premise though was respect or disrespect. So what I'm saying is that we did not have the level of disrespect towards women back then that men have towards women now.
I put it another way. Do you believe all things done in the dark come to light?
Always. Yes.
So what we did back then is coming to light now.
Well, for some it came into light back then.
And that's my point with it, where back then, no, we didn't publicly humiliate them. I might have went to face and said, hey, don't bun her, she go. But you now, jokers on social media. Hey man, I met this bra, she da. And then some jokers go as far as to posting pictures.
But see, you just said the key
So-
word, social media. We didn't have social media.
I
back
agree
then.
with that, but what
so
I'm-
that's
but-
why it's such much more prevalent.
I agree. But when you get into origin and you look into origin, this started before social media. It's just coming to light now. Just like I said earlier, the feminist movement, first wave of feminist movement started in 1800. Second wave started in the 60s, but women chose to back us in the civil rights movement instead of pushing themselves in the feminists. So in the mid 90s to present, now we got this feminist movement to where now it's impactful. And now it's to the point we're sitting here having this conversation because the average heterosexual alpha male, you don't feel like you have a voice. We can talk to each other one-on-one, but that's about as far as it goes.
Say
A
that
lot.
last point again for me. You just said
Which part?
that you said alpha males don't feel like they have a voice.
Right, because we can talk to each other. If me, you, and Face are sitting off camera, off record, and we chopping it up, we can do that all day long. But if you're talking about a public forum, we're going to get fried. We're going to get castrated. Because a lot of the things that we believe in the way we were raised, they're going to label it as toxic masculinity, and then we can't have a discussion. A lot of men, not saying us in general, but a lot of men, they can't even go home and talk to their woman. Because the minute they open up and tap into their feelings, then he not being a man. So there's a lot of...
Was he a man when he married? Was he a man when he married? Because it didn't just happen down the line later that now all of a sudden now he can't discuss things with her. Was it a point where he could discuss things with his
So-
wife, and then all of a sudden he couldn't?
So that's off.
Realistically, he
That's
probably couldn't
but
from the
that
beginning.
but that's off topic. And the reason that's off topic is because
Is it on topic?
no, it's off topic. Because if he love her and he's being a man, he's going to do what he need to do regardless of what she's doing.
If he was an alpha male.
Precisely.
Really bothered. I just.
Of course, it bothers. It bothers a lot of men.
No, this is why it bothers me. I've had 5 wives.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had to say, I'm the alpha, I'm the head. You just are what you are. A lion don't gotta say you're a lion.
After
So
speak louder
just
than words.
throwing around alpha, toxic, narcissistic, they're buzzwords that people. If you're a man, you're a man. You ain't gotta throw alpha on it. If you're a man, you're a man. You ain't gotta throw mate on it. If you're a man, you're a man. There's levels to it. There's levels to it. Some men are a little bit softer, some are a little bit more aggressive. So I guess that's why they throw the alpha and the beta again. And this is just for me. I've never had to. I've never had to say. I've never had to use the term.
But I think
But not for you, but just in general terms, a person can separate themselves. You can watch an individual and you can tell what they are.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
So that's why I say,
But to
add
say
an
it-
adjective on it to describe it. But
So,
but
you're-
to say it and wave this flag, most people that say what they are, they ain't.
I agree.
That's just right.
No.
Oh man, I'm come to the point I can ball. Probably not involved. Or the loudest thing in the room is the
So you're right. You're right. But I agree with you on that. However, most alpha males don't have to say it because it, like you said, a lion doesn't say they're lying. It's the way they move. However, in this general discussion, we have to separate the two because that separation of the two is what all of this conversation is about. When you get into masculinity, they're not attacking, or the system isn't designed to go after all men.
Right.
It's a certain type of men or man that's going to buck from the agenda.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when you get into the agenda of breaking up the household, an alpha male is going to buck that.
Right, and more need
A
to
ba-
bucket. More need to bucket. Part of the issue is men have to do what women do. Meaning, if you want to see your child spend a certain amount of time with your child, you have to go through the courts and make sure that happens. Don't
No.
just sit back. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Can I finish?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Because there's a lot of dudes that sit back, oh, shorty won't let me. Ain't no shorty won't let me. If you want to see your shorty, you want to make sure you see your shorty. The end. Ain't no back and forth about it.
Right.
When you bring the courts into it, understand something. The courts are not built for men.
I get that.
They're not built for men.
I get
so
it.
as much as you want to see your child, you can go to court with the whole thing. I'm doing this. I can provide this. I make this amount. I'm doing this. Somebody in the black robe is gonna make a decision for you that ain't your best decision.
Right.
Even you have the best intentions at heart. So now that decision is made, regardless of how you feel.
Then
And
you
they
go
wanna
to
tip-
another judge. Ain't nobody stopping me
This is the
from doing
this
what
is
I
the
gotta
point.
do for me and mine. It's just
Exactly.
not happening.
And that's the point
That's
of
what
it.
an alpha male
And
does.
that's the point of it. The point of it is this, in the example you gave. An alpha male is going to do what they got to do to be a part of their child's life. A beta male is going to pay that $800 a month and don't care if they see their son or not. That's the difference between the two.
See, I don't know about that. See,
I disagree with that.
Both situations, these are unique in a sense. I agree with you. You gotta have the passion. If you want to be we talking about alpha males, which you don't like the term. I like the term for different reasons. But if you want to be in your child's life, yeah, you need to be there. Period. Now, entrusting it to the courts, similar to what you were saying your head about, I'm the poster child of here's everything, proof that I can do everything, and the judge basically, I had an example where the judge thought that I couldn't even cook for my child.
Right.
The judge told me, oh, you can take your child to McDonald's and stuff every Tuesday or something like that. So the mentality, some of that stuff is socialized into the courts. Now, sometimes we have good judges, sometimes we don't. But getting back to the point of not letting anything, because Paul kind of said this, not letting anything stop you from being able to take care of your family.
Right.
That is in essence what a man is to me.
Right.
My
Right.
definition.
Right.
Masculinity. People call it toxic because what you're supposed to do basically is if you can't get your way, you're supposed to fall off, and that's what, for lack of a better word, some of this movement that you've seen around the world, they want us to fall off.
Right.
Because that way the woman can get social, I guess, stamp and all
Section
food
8 and all
stamp
that
and all
shit,
that. You can get all this type of stuff.
Section 8 with all that.
It's easy to give them that. When we fall into place.
Right.
But when we're disobedient, I guess now I'm kind of getting what you were saying about we raised on. When we're disobedient to that, we're bucking the system and we're causing problems, and that's why people don't like it.
Right. So you got to look at it like this. Scratch the family. Just look at what you want for yourself out of life.
Right.
Right? If you're an alpha male, you're going to go after that.
Right.
If you're hanging around people that's holding you back, you're going to cut them the fuck off.
Right. Yeah.
Right? If, right.
I'm gonna tell you something.
It naturally kind
You see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you something. My father always told us. can change people around you.
Change the people around you. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's that
You hang
simple.
around 4 broke cats.
Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. But what happens, right, but what happens is an alpha male is going to move that way. Again, that's bucking the system. The system is trying to tear down a certain type of male. This is why the feminist movement now has the impact that it has not had for the past 200 years.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So now it's about the more I emasculate this particular type of male, and it's to the point, to be honest, our women have accepted it. Our women go against us in public conversation. And there's just certain rules, not legal rules, but moral and ethically, just thrown out there for conversation. If me and you having a conversation, what should women do?
Move on.
Not be a part of it.
Yeah, because men are talking.
However, if she's siding with you, she gonna attack me to show she's siding with you.
Right.
If I put her in her place, I'm wrong.
Sometimes you're going to be put in a no-win situation.
But I'm right because those are the moral and ethical rules.
But
You see what I'm saying?
yes, but see, that's where the difference lies. Because back in the day, when men had a conversation, it was the men who had a conversation.
Right.
And that's where the whole, I don't know, you call it culture change, hip hop, whatever. I just think there was, me personally, I don't believe that music played as big a part in it as you would like to say.
Music plays a part in everything.
No, I said as big.
Music.
As big. I believe music plays a part. My personal opinion, I think what really the culture change shifted when salaries for women started to increase and rise to the level that some women felt that now monetarily they could be the head of the household, thus start to.
I think that's one aspect, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's
I
the
think that's one
aspect, but it
aspect.
is one
You're
aspect.
on to something.
Right.
You're on to something. We was gonna get to that. You're on to something, but you're off a little bit. I'll tell you why you're off a little bit. Women's
I
salary.
knew you were gonna tell me I was almost.
Women's salaries haven't.
I knew you were gonna tell me.
So women's salaries haven't quote unquote increased. A telltale sign of that is to this day they're still fighting over equal pay.
You said
How women's salaries haven't increased. A telltale sign of that is to this day they're still fighting over equal pay.
I disagree.
No, that's proven.
No.
Those are facts.
Women's salaries have increased, but ours have
When you speak,
failed.
when you're
So-
speaking to the point of equality and taking over and being the head of household, it hasn't increased to that magnitude. That's where I'm going with it.
Well, technically, now I'm not saying I disagree.
They're
with you.
still to this day fighting over
But-
equal pay.
But the problem is, technically, it did occur because there started to be more and more households where there was not a man in the household. So
That has
woman's
not-
salary
that had-
now was like the man's
That
salary.
that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Here's a stat. 70% of our children are born out of wedlock. They're born into single mother households.
You said 70?
70. Those are facts. So that's a mentality issue. We out here fucking raw because our first thought process is, I want to see how good she is. I want to see how good she is. We don't think about all the other stuff till after the fact. We put sex first. So you end up having a child, getting somebody pregnant with somebody. You don't even know if this chick believes in abortion or not. You don't know if she wants an abortion or not. You don't really know how she views you.
Or who she is.
Right. You might view her as just a something to do, she might view you as her husband. You haven't had these conversations yet. So
But you talking
that's,
casually, or you talking about?
of course it's casual.
No, okay, but I'm speaking in terms of.
I know what you're
relationship.
speaking of. What I'm saying is, when you put the stat out there, which is a fact, that 70% of our kids are born into single mother household, which means out of wedlock. You putting a woman in position, she got to work, dog. She got to work.
She wasn't working when you met her?
She has to work. Rather,
Was she working when
that
you met
doesn't matter. She's in a position now that she has to. If you have conversation with women off the record, what they'll tell you, which is another reason I disagree with what you said.
She has to work before we met.
Women work because they don't have that man to be a man. Once she finds a man to be, nah, dog, that's not real life. Once she has a man, it's not.
Women don't. Oh, you say women don't.
If
work
you
because
go back,
they don't have a man?
if you go back
we
and you
talking
I
look,
know
about
too many
today, but
women
you
who
just
work
didn't wanna
because
go back.
They have
We
the
talking
intellectual
now.
capacity and ability
so
to work and be very
here's the
successful.
problem, and I had this problem too. When I was a kid growing up, I didn't understand the purpose of history class. Why is it history? This shit ain't telling me nothing about now. Y'all don't want to accept history to understand why we are where we are.
It's not accepting history. It's just
No, you can't disagree with facts.
one man's statement.
It's not a statement. It's facts.
So
You
see,
can,
women don't work because they don't have a man.
dog.
So let's
Women have to work. When you look at roles, right? There's gender roles.
Right.
So when you get into gender roles,
Right.
what's the top 3 men's role?
You say what?
What's the top 3 role of a man?
We got to be a provider,
Thank you. What?
protector.
Thank you.
I didn't say soul. So don't thank me.
What do you
I
mean?
didn't say soul provider.
What do you mean,
Provider.
soul?
Soul means the woman does not have to work and only a man is working. So I'm saying provider means you're going to be the head of your household and provider, but the woman is still going to work and also want to be.
Why is she working?
Isn't that a good time for
Why is she? Yeah, because you didn't tell me the name of the pit. This young lady wanted us to shout out her hookah business. Please come in the camera. She gave us a hookah. She didn't give us the name. We got to shout her out. Please
Yeah. Love too.
give your spiel. Give your spiel. Go ahead.
Love too.
Black-owned business. What other spiel?
Give your spiel.
That is my spiel.
That's it?
We're here at
You got elevator
1865.
Talk to the
We're here
camera.
at
Talk.
1865 Lydia.
What's your Instagram?
Luxhookers at Luxhookers. Sadie, Abigail, Kitchen Crane. We're all over DC.
You on Facebook?
No.
You on Instagram?
Yep, at
You on TikTok?
No.
What's your Instagram?
What's your contact information? We need all that.
So at Luxhookers. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Amen.
Thank you guys.
Great movement, by the way. Back to our regularly
So,
scheduled program.
so this is what I'm saying. When you look at history, when we stop taking care of our responsibilities, it's forced women to have to go work. Those are facts. It cannot be argued. It cannot be disputed. When we stop taking care of our responsibilities,
See, well, no, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say I'm an anomaly. I don't. I'm not. But all I know is that my folks been married for 53 years. I'm 52. All my life, I've seen my parents. They have the mentality. When one feet hit the floor to go to work, the other feet gonna hit the floor to go to work too. So therefore, that was what they wanted for their family. It wasn't I had to work because I didn't have a man. No, I worked as a woman because I have the capability and I want to contribute because it takes more than one to raise a family and guide a family. So therefore,
I think that's different though.
yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's important. That's it.
I get what you're saying.
It's
But
different.
Let's meet a little bit in the middle.
One to provide and to raise the family, 2 different roles, but it support one common thing. As a provider, you go out to work because the balance is someone's always home when the kids come home from school. It's not that latchkey situation where you know, a lot of things are left to chance.
Why is that the balance?
Well, it's the balance because that's just how it was set up. That's the order. The man is the provider. The woman takes care of the home. That's the way it is. I mean, and the thing is, see, we have a problem.
Is that because that's how you've been taught?
No. The fact that the balance
We didn't write the book.
Right. See, the thing is, let me say this.
That's in any Bible that you read.
Is, truth be told, a woman don't have to have that ambition like a man to be a provider, because that's when we get caught up in that situation. I don't need a man type situation, and you do need a man. Because you understand what I'm saying? So the balance is, if she chooses to work, that's her business. That's fine. Nobody's saying she have to. But what I'm getting at is the fact that as the male, you are the provider.
How many? Let's start with this. How many men in 2023? I know history. Make enough money to support himself, black men,
Understood.
and a woman.
Watch this.
We ain't even
Watch
talking
this.
about children. 2 individuals. We know what's the median income in Washington D.C.
$101,000.
You a lie.
$101,000 is the median income. $101,000 is the median income.
Okay.
Okay,
So
'cause
how
there's two
many
different-
black men you think make over $100,000 in D.C.?
You didn't ask the black income.
Let's
you
switch
asked
the
the
question.
income.
Let's switch the question.
Okay, all right,
Fair enough. Let's switch the question. How many black men in Washington D.C. make over $100,000?
Bruh.
Percentage wise.
Bruh,
No, answer the question.
you're wrong.
I could be wrong. It's okay.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Fuck the stats. I'm gonna tell you why.
But he going to stats. Say fuck
No,
stats.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm saying fuck the
Okay.
stats. When you start saying how many black men make enough money to provide for themselves, let alone their family, that's about what you choose to spend. That's not about your income. Like he just said, the average salary is $100 grand.
Yes, it is.
You can live off $100 grand based on your choices.
We
No, we're not. We didn't miss
missed the
anything.
oranges.
We
missed
didn't.
the
No, we're
apples
not
and
mixing apples and oranges.
We are.
If you are making the choices, for example, just because your credit say you can get it, and when you apply for that house and it's approved, you know you can't afford a $3,500 a month mortgage.
Okay.
But you want to be house broke.
But you, thank you.
Let's change it.
It's
Let's
about
change it real
choices
quick.
when you
Let's
get
change
into
it.
that.
How many men sitting at this table have supported a woman and she didn't work?
You said this year?
And she didn't work.
Oh, she didn't work?
Yeah, I have.
You have?
In the history of my life, yes.
In the history of your life, yes.
I can say that I refuse.
So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to what your experience is what I'm going to tell you mine. You know what it felt like? It felt like I had another child. I don't even view you the same. You don't bring nothing to the
You
table.
chose to go through that.
Right.
You chose
See,
that.
that's the mindset.
So if you choose something, don't complain about it.
No. It's not about that. See, motherfuckers, let me tell you something. People will tell you whatever you want to hear when they want what they want. Women will tell you, oh, I'm going to do this. Just like a dude. Oh, I'm going to start my own business. Oh, I'm going, he do say.
Hey, I talked to the lady last week. I'm with you.
You meet him, he's a security guard. He going to save you the world. Oh, I'm going to start this car wash. I'm going to do that. You married a dude. 6 months down the line, he's sitting on your couch playing PlayStation, eating all the snacks. People will lie to your face, men and women.
I agree.
So I married a woman that was old when my first husband and and he went on dialysis and I worked and I went to school and sold the dream. But then when the dream didn't come to fruition, she had to go.
Well, what dream did she sell you?
What I just said.
No.
Let me ask this.
The dream that he bought.
But let me ask
He
you.
bought that.
Right. At what point did it become a
You
problem?
bought
Was it a
that.
problem?
Well, that's fair, and I returned.
But let me
it.
ask you. Let me say this. Just like you said, you said you
all
refused to,
dreams.
right? So at some point, you know if it's a problem for you in the beginning or during the situation where you can say that ain't gonna happen. You understand what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying. I've been in that situation, right? It worked for me because we had 2 small kids at the time.
Right.
And 2 small kids in daycare cost more than my mortgage.
$600 a week.
So guess what? So you being home is ideal
Right.
for what I have going on because we're gonna lose it more because now you got to go out.
Right.
We got to burn gas.
Right.
You got.
So that wasn't my particular
Right, I
situation.
get
You explained
it.
it. Right,
So,
right.
but
But
guess
that's why
what?
I said you can't paint a broad brush. Everybody's situation is going to be different.
Right.
And akin to what works for you.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's not gonna work for me.
Understood.
Get
There's
that.
no right or wrong.
Right.
Get
It's
that.
based on your relationship and what works for you. Right?
Get all of
some
that.
Folks, some folks, now watch this too. Some folk don't mind buying $500 Gucci shoes and living on a median income that
Right.
they can't feed their house.
Right.
Other folks don't mind buying $21 Amazon shoes and make sure their family got money.
Right.
Perception
Is
is
everything.
some folks' reality.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So, if in that form of fashion, you already know in your heart of hearts, this ain't working right now.
Right.
We gotta have communication.
Right.
The problem is, can you communicate honestly to say, look, this is what it is.
Right.
Right.
This is what it's not.
Right.
Right.
What I'm not gonna stand for.
Right.
Right.
If I'm the protecting provider,
Right.
we gotta change this narrative.
Right.
This gotta work for us.
Right.
You can't work for it. I'm not the one for you.
Right.
So you gotta go.
But
Not
that's
that-
the
ho, ho, ho.
conversation you gotta have at the beginning.
No,
Not in the
but no.
middle.
And that goes to what he's saying.
They will
Right. That goes to what he's saying.
lie to your face.
They will. But actions speak
But
louder.
hold fast.
About actions too. She
But
can
hold
be a
fast.
lawyer, whatever, they will lie to you.
This is what y'all. This is
Actions speak louder than words every day of the week.
this is what y'all are missing.
Every day of the week.
Where I'm going with it is this. Is it a fact that at the end of the day, it's about what works for you and yours?
Facts.
That's 100% facts. However, when we're talking about something that is affecting society, that means there's a culture shift. And that means that this is how things were in one era, and this is how it is now. Majority will always rule.
Let me ask something.
So,
Let me ask
this is what it is. So, to speak to what you said, when I asked you what dream did she sell you, did she sell you a dream of her performing her roles as a woman, or did she sell you the dream that you wanted to buy?
She sold me the dream of us working as a team. Let me add something else to that. When the man is the only provider, going back to my IT training, in any organization, any building, if you have a single point of failure, it's a problem. If I'm the only one making income, I'm not saying she got to match what I make. I'm not saying that. She ain't got to make $150,000 a year like me. But she has to do something. She ain't got to go to no 9 to 5. You got to do something. Make hats, make ashtrays. I don't care what it is. But you have to bring something to the table. If I go down, if I get sick, if anything happens, and that income is no longer coming in, and you're not taking care of children or whatever, I'm speaking to my situation.
Okay.
But you're sitting at home watching Judge Judy and Price Away. We got a problem, Houston. You got to go. Single point of failure is a problem. I'm not saying that she has to match, but you have to bring something to the table, love.
So it goes back to her actions versus her words.
What it goes back to is she sold him on a dream he
And he
wanted to
bought it.
buy,
And he bought it.
and not her roles as a woman.
So how many dreams have y'all bought? Y'all ain't never bought no dreams?
Now, here's the difference.
Okay, I was
This is
gonna
the
say, I
difference.
know I ain't
We're admitting the dreams we bought.
You ain't the first dream buyer.
You still hurt over it.
I'm not still mad at nothing. Oh, I'm cool. I got rid of mine last August. I'm straight. I'm straighter than straight.
At the end of the day, and we all on social media, we all see the conversations. It's constant finger pointing between men and women, right? More so women than men. And the reason I say more so women than men is because a true man ain't going back and forth with all that shit, right?
But you just said the key point. The key point you
True
just
man,
said,
right.
No, but the key point you just said
Right.
was on social media and all that. That's why I don't pay attention to it.
You don't. However,
But if more, but I'm just saying,
here's why I say what I say all the time.
Social media is a dream.
Majority rules.
It's a dream.
You can say that. You can say that. Facebook got 500 million motherfuckers.
Dude.
no.
So your opinion? No. So how you personally feel don't mean shit.
Understood. But here's the
With
problem.
that being said, no. Listen. With that being
look at it
said,
for what it's supposed
I'm
to
not
be.
disagreeing with you.
Okay.
No, that's what it's supposed to be for you.
That's,
That's what. No, it's not. There are people. No, it's not.
99%
And
of
that's why we
folks
are
on-
where we are.
99% of folks on Facebook say you a dream.
Are you done?
I'm doing this.
Are you
I'm
done?
doing that. That's not real life.
Are you done? Do you know how many
That's a
people?
dream.
Do you know how many legit businesses have made money from marketing and social media? Do you know that
marketing.
Do you know that there are Fortune 500 companies with pages on social media?
We
Social
talking-
media.
no, but
We're not talking two different things.
I'm
My
talking
point is simple
relationships.
to you.
Relationships
No,
on
my point
Facebook.
is simple to you. Social media is not just for entertainment.
No.
So you can't make that statement.
Not in this
Now-
context,
For
Paul.
relationships,
Now,
Paul.
back
In this
in,
context, no.
even in this context, you're wrong because people
not
take.
wrong.
You are wrong.
No.
You are
No.
because I'm going to say it again. How you feel and your personal view. Facebook alone got 500 million motherfuckers. So what
Exactly.
happens
Which
when
is why we having this conversation, 'cause all these people living a
when
dream.
500 million
That's
motherfuckers
why we here tonight. Because all these people
when
live
five,
in a dream.
when 500 million motherfuckers say, I don't need a man,
500 people, not 500 million.
it doesn't matter what you. Come on, bro. Now
Million people not
you
saying
want to
that.
argue
So,
semantics.
I'm
You
not-
get the point. Majority rules.
I'm gonna tell you why it's different.
That's the point.
I'm gonna tell you why it's different. I got a business page, social media. Ain't never one been involved in what you doing, how you doing, want to book you, want to meet you. None of that shit. That comes on personal pages.
If you
So
say,
I get what you're saying, but you can't put a marketing and business aspect onto what we're talking about.
I put the aspect on it because he said, and I quote, social media is only for entertainment. It's not.
Pertaining to relationships.
It's not.
Pertaining to
He didn't say that till I said it's
Because
not.
that's the topic. We're talking about relationships.
No, nigga, you can't make statements like that blanket and it's not
Based on
true.
this conversation, yeah.
Don't throw that monkey wrench in there after the fact.
Based on
That
this
statement
conversation,
is not true.
It's only a wrench if the
Now.
monkey take it.
As far as the topic is concerned.
Because they gonna think all this is toxic masculinity.
Now, as far as
Nah, you know what this is?
If this nigga's deliberating, I'm out.
No. You know what this is? Alpha males talking.
right.
Alpha males talking.
Now,
You know what this is, real talk? This is barbershop. Remember barbershop?
Yep.
Now you gotta make an appointment on the cut. We used to go into the barbershop and congregate and shoot the shit, talk about everything from religion to women to sports to whatever. We don't have that no more. That's
No,
crazy.
this is the conversation when the cameras are off.
No, but
This is how we talk.
but niggas did a lot of welling in the barbershop.
But in all seriousness, these are the types of conversations, and this why tonight is so great that you decided to have this forum.
Right.
Because these are the types of conversations that need to take place more amongst black men.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
that's one thing that we can all agree on.
Right.
Because if we start having more of these conversations,
Right.
more of the masses,
Mm-hmm.
then the majority will shift.
Right.
And
Right.
so this
So-
we have is
We should never agree on everything.
Right.
We
Exactly.
are all different men.
Exactly.
We all alpha men.
Exactly.
So don't
So
mean
listen.
that our point is wrong.
Exactly.
No.
I'm not the alpha. I'm just a man.
But
If you put 5 alpha men in the room, it's gonna be a zoo.
of course.
It's gonna be a zoo.
Of course.
What, you gonna leave with something going home? He said,
Yeah.
Right.
shit.
All sorts
That's
of
true
shit.
shit, right?
Bro said
I'm gonna take it with me.
But here's what happens. The unfortunate gift and the curse with social media is people will sit on that screen behind that keyboard and type a way to have the conversation there instead of in person.
Which means they ain't alpha.
You see what I'm saying? So
Keyboard gangster.
right, exactly. So when you get into women, to double back to what I was saying, you get women on social media, they're just constantly pointing the finger at the wrong men have done. Some valid, some invalid.
Right.
However, there is no recourse. There's no steps to get things back on track. The minute a man says something with a step to get back on track, then here comes another rebuttal. You see what I'm saying? So
and that's part of
so
the problem.
because of that, when you said earlier, it's up to the women. No, it's not up to the women. The women ain't listening to us. We have to come together as men and move as men, which will in turn force the women to recognize what they should do as a woman so we can come together back as a culture.
Well, first of all, the women, both the men and the women and the men have to stop talking at one another and start talking to one another.
Right.
The women have to be quiet and listen to the men. Well, either way, both parties have to be silent so that they can hear one another instead of yelling across. Well, interjecting. Let me finish my statement.
Positive communication is what it takes, right?
Right.
Because understand something. Everybody's going to get their point of view.
Right.
But if you say 2 words and you stop me, now everything is Charlie Brown. Walk, 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 walk. I don't want to hear you. So you can say a whole 10 minutes worth of stuff. I'm not hearing what you're saying.
Right.
Because you cut me off.
Right.
I'm going to allow you to say what you have to say. And you retort that back.
Right.
You ain't got to agree on it. But I'm going to let you feel. Because half the time, honestly, they want to be heard.
Right.
So I'm going to let you speak on it. Say what it is. I can either agree or disagree with it.
Right.
But you got it out of your system.
But a huge part of the issue is we don't communicate.
Right.
We listen only to respond.
Right. Not to
So
understand.
I don't really intake what you say to me, even though you might be right. My retaliation is that you said it to me, and I'm pissed off. Now I want to say something back to you.
Right.
So we can never get to the place where I might say, you know what, I'm hearing what you say. Go ahead and finish. Because I have on blinders at times too, and I'm not always right. So let me hear what you have. And let me, have time to take it in. But when you finish speaking, if I can get my turn to speak and be heard with the same consideration that we really do some, and the rest of that night we just take in what each other says.
So, funny point, off topic but not off
I'm
topic.
going to add to that.
This is just
I'm going to add to that. When you done.
this is just my belief, and I've always been this way, buddy. You know that. There's another piece of this puzzle that speaks to accountability, right? Now, what does everybody say? Everybody says it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
This is my personal belief. I've been this way since I was 14.
Oh, you say what you want to fucking say. Period.
But do you know why? You know why? Here's why. When you aren't ready to accept the accountability, it doesn't matter how somebody says it. That's just an excuse to deflect from the fact that you're not ready to accept the accountability.
Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
If you're ready to accept the accountability, if I tell you you a fuck nigga, you're gonna be like, I ain't no fuck nigga, but why you say that? If you're not ready to accept it, we about to fight.
Yeah, we'll talk.
See the difference?
We gonna fight
But you trying to understand.
You see the difference?
You trying to understand. Like, hold on.
Right.
But
You see the
but
difference?
you know what though? I get what you're saying, but the back of your point, the one thing that I think is not understood, sometimes women just want to vent. Just fucking listen.
Of course.
Here goes the problem. The problem with alpha men, I'm gonna tell you me personally,
We want to fix shit.
I'm a fixer.
Right.
I'm a fixer.
Right.
I've been cussed out more by trying to fix shit
Right, than just
than
listening.
just listening,
Right.
right?
Right.
But the problem is, to an alpha male, what's the problem? I'm gonna fix it regardless,
Right.
right? That's your inert nature as alpha male.
Right. See,
So
that's-
I'm gonna fix it.
So that's
Sitting back and not making an action
Or-
eats me alive.
Or I answer that. Once you adapt and you just listen and don't try to fix shit,
now there's a problem.
Right.
Now,
so this is what and this has been a woman in general. If you're coming in and you talk about something, am I listening or am I responding? That's the first question I'm asking. If you tell me I'm listening, cool. If you tell me I'm responding, cool. I just need to know what I'm doing. Am I listening or am I responding?
Right.
but
That'll
then,
cut out a lot of
but
bullshit.
then that's our argument. Oh, so you don't know what you want to do?
Right.
Yeah, man.
no.
But
I think-
Let's say it goes the way he's saying it. I just want you to listen. Cool, I'm listening.
Okay.
When they done, you don't have shit to say.
Right.
Now you're
You ain't got
wrong.
nothing to say?
That
You
is-
ain't got nothing to say?
I'm talking about amongst rational human. Let's just take it. Let's make the
We
playing
ain't gonna get
field.
there
But
but
here's
one.
the difference to that though, Paul.
You get
Hey,
that shit
Paul.
to one, I'm sorry.
Paul, here's the difference to that. Realistic, what's understood don't need to be explained. And that's how it's supposed to be.
So,
If you understand it, I don't need to explain explain anything any further because we on the same page. When you have to explain, that's your first key that
Y'all on the same page.
somebody that's not
That's
the
fair.
same.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's the first key.
That's fair.
All right. So lastly, before we done, because I want to spin this back to just us.
Right.
I don't want to get into a finger point match. I don't want to get into a comparison between men and women. I want to bring this back to just us.
Right.
You remember Guy Code?
Geico?
Yeah.
Guy Code.
Yeah.
Oh,
The shirt.
Geico.
The shirt.
Right.
Remember Guy
Manlow,
Code?
Geico,
Manlow.
Yeah.
So, what happened to that? Example.
They replaced him with girlfriend.
Example. Here's an example.
I don't know what kind of niggas y'all hang with. I still got it.
No, seriously.
I thought he was talking about. I thought he was talking about the show.
Let me address this one more time. I'm gonna address this one more time, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not universal.
Exactly.
Majority rules. Nothing is 100%. Very long time.
You said what?
Very long time. We go back.
I mean, you go back a long way.
Unless your wife is calling me because she's planning a surprise for you, there's no need for her to call me.
Right.
Right?
Facts.
However, there's a plethora of today's men that have no problem with their friends' wives calling them and having conversations like they friends. Just throwing God Code Man Law out there.
Right.
You know, certain things that aren't the same anymore.
Right. I got you.
And in my opinion, this is why shit is fucked up now. Keep a spade a spade. Because all of a sudden, she crying on his shoulder because something you did, and nigga ain't tell you. He bopping your folks off.
See, I think it goes deeper than that, and this may actually delve into part 2, whenever part 2 comes. I think before that even took place is when we started losing the man's aspect, and now we have the wearing of purses and the whole. There was a shift in the dichotomy, and when that shift changed, the mindset changed with it.
Right.
And then there started to be a groundswell of acceptability of well, it's okay to do this and to do that.
Right.
And it got away from the core values of us being a man's man.
Right.
Man law went out. I mean, it just went out. Just in terms of you just being, once again, we stated earlier, accountability.
Right.
Back in the day, that's what it was about. You knew that whatever went down, you knew your boys had your back.
Right.
If one was going to take an L, we were going to all take an L that night.
Right.
That's gone out the window.
Yeah, that's long.
It went away a long time ago.
Right.
So I think the aspect of accountability is what really started to shift with men not realistically being the quote unquote men or man any longer.
Exactly.
Now
Let
it
me
changed
finish real quick.
Go
into
ahead.
dual role.
But I think it go back to what Paul said a little bit too, as far as that time frame and when there was single moms.
Don't you start that?
Let me
88
finish. Let me finish.
Don't you start that
You
88
know what?
stuff again.
You can research it, dog.
Because the thing is, a lot of males, I'm gonna put it like that, right, portray themselves as men with their role model being a female. So therefore, their interaction with people is from her.
Based upon what they would
It's right, exactly. It's not based on the male's perception.
It's a little soft.
Exactly. So that's why. Let me finish. So therefore, it's easy when a guy can go into calling the female out of her name. You know why? Because he watched his mama do it with her sisters, and other female friends. That was just natural. That's just the way he saw her handle conflict. So now when he get with a woman, they beefing, which really ain't a male-female beef. It's a female-female beef internally and emotionally because he was raised by his mama.
So, it's a little different. And Paul, you and I both know, one of my best friends,
Go on.
Okay, raised predominantly by his mother.
Go on.
He doesn't have that trait
You know why?
because he was with us.
Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
So it goes back to
But I get that part.
you gotta stay within your
the thing,
circle, within your village.
but what about when it's
no,
not?
but I
Come
just
on.
want to say this. If we really, what always threw me off, and we can even go back in the day, what always threw me off, and I swear I've never understood this. You will see a man whistle or call a girl like, shorty, still like me, holler at the 4-7. And as soon as she shoots you down, you want to say, oh, bitch, you ain't all that anyway. My first thought is, Slim, you just tried to holler at her. So she had to be something for you to try to holler at her.
Right.
So,
But see, my first thought is you was raised by your mother. Because a man not gonna do that.
Which I'm gonna back tell you.
You said a word. And two parent households, we've seen it happen.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. You said a word that I kind of disagree with.
Okay.
When you said she was the role model. Two things happen.
Okay.
You learn how to love it or exploit it.
Okay.
Right? It's not gonna be a role model type of thing. It's gonna be you learn how to love it to a certain percent or exploit it.
But guess what? What if that's all you receiving though? You don't know any different because that's the only thing it is. Where your mama go, you go. So that's what communication is to you.
So you know what happens with that?
Go ahead.
What happens with that is you get kids that think they husbands
Mhm.
rather than children.
Right.
Because they were raised.
They
there.
blame the
Right.
So for the most part, if you walk around and you can go to Walmart, Target, wherever you go, Ross, wherever you go at, right? I've seen more grown women having grown conversations with their sons rather than I'm the mother, you're the child.
You're proving his point.
Right. That's,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, but
Yeah.
it's not a role model aspect.
Yes, it is.
You're replacing what a man should be with what the child is.
Role
Yeah, but
mo-
the
bro-
only individual that they had to emulate
Is-
was the mother.
And-
so that's the role model.
Thank
aspect
you.
they were
Exactly.
speaking
Yeah.
of.
So let me touch on this part real
I think a
quick.
little different. I think a little
So-
different.
I get you. I get you.
When you feel, I got something to add to it.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was saying, what we're proving is masculinity or being a man is a social construct. So in other words,
But it
you
shouldn't
can't-
be.
You can't learn how to be a man in a vacuum. You got to be amongst other men
Right.
or other male role models.
Right.
in order
It's a
to
must.
learn.
Exactly, that's perfect. So to go back to what we were talking about before all of this started, I'm married 5 times. If I have my father in my life, I don't marry 5 times. If I have a strong uncle, if I have something, so I notice in you guys there's a certain, you know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm soft for no shit. I'm just different. That's just y'all were raised. Again, we have a problem because there are no grandfathers passing on to the fathers, passing on to the sons. Generational wealth is more than just passing along stuff. We have to pass along those life lessons and all that shit. We got a huge problem in the community because let's speak to the guys in 45 to 55. We get our little job with Metro, whatever, post office or whatever, get our bread, move out Upper Marlboro, and then point to the city, say, what's wrong with the youngers? No, we got to go into the city, and for the ones that want to listen,
Right.
and say, yo, but I had a big, so my mother got me a big brother when I was Big Brother, Big Sister program. Strong dude, married, you know what I'm saying, was there, you know, and he wasn't my father, but he served an intricate part into helping to mold me into a young man, help me pick out my super car, stuff like that, little stuff like that. But
Right.
we need the men.
Right.
That's the whole point of this.
Right.
We need the men.
Right.
We had these problems when Murray Burry was around.
we had him to a lesser degree. And the reason why I was saying that too is that because you was earlier you were talking about music, part of the single parent family talking. You can't ignore the crack epidemic.
Facts.
And, you know, we 40 to 45. You can't ignore those types of things.
All the things that were systematic.
Right.
Still going on at 89,
So combination of all those things created a perfect storm
Facts.
of us
To destroy the black man.
Now, what we said, we kind of said a little bit later, early, well, I guess later now, is that we're supposed to be mentoring. You mentioned that, like, you're not a big brother. We're supposed to be mentoring. Some of us ain't even the capacity, even at 45 or 55,
Right.
to mentor anybody.
Right.
Because we weren't mentored
Exactly.
growing up.
Exactly.
We're all messed up.
Exactly. So I was
So
just
we almost need like a big brother. We need a big brother.
So what we actually call that mentoring or just the village mentality?
Well,
Because that's what we got away from.
Probably both. And I'm gonna say this real quick. one of the things that I've learned is that when you hang, I want to be old. I'm old now, but I want to be old. I want to know what it's like to be 80, 90 years old.
Right.
The way you learn to be 80, 90 years old is you don't hang around no 30-year-olds. You hang around 90-year-olds. You hang around see how they manage and stuff like that. And I'm using that sort of a crazy example. But what I'm saying is that how
What we gonna do?
I got it.
how these youngsters going to learn how to mature if they want to learn, if they want to mature, is that they need to hang around people who are mature, who got something.
Right.
You just said the key word. Talking about youngers who want to mature and want to get something. Nowadays, the mentality has changed because whenever you got, now youngers want to take it.
Nope, that's not true. Not true. I've mentored enough kids. I've trained enough kids. Kids want guidance. We're not giving it to them.
Right.
I disagree.
You can disagree till you blue in the face.
You want to talk about majority?
Huh?
I'm telling you, I disagree. I've been mentoring kids. I came home from service, no food. And what the Masons do is we mentor kids from 7 to 18, right? There's a difference between mentoring kids that want to get that knowledge and talking to a brick wall, right?
Who think they already know more than you do?
Facts.
And there's
I finally figured out what Face's problem is in comprehension. Finally figured it out. It's not that you disagree. You just have an experience on the other side, which goes back to when he said, for those that want to get it.
Yeah.
If you're going to waste your energy focusing on the ones that don't want to get it, you're going to stop doing it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah. So,
Paul, out of curiosity, do you believe in terms of majority and minority, do you believe right now that the majority of African American youth, males, want that guidance,
Yeah.
or do you believe that they want to do things their way and that we need to learn how to conform to what they're doing now? Because quote unquote, y'all did it y'all's way. Now y'all need to respect how we doing it our way, and we gonna do it the way we want to do it. And if you don't conform to our way, then too bad for y'all older people.
here's the facts. You want the facts?
I'm just asking.
Do you want the facts?
That's why I asked.
The facts is yes, they want the guidance. They want the mentor.
The majority?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the problem. The ones that's trying to help don't have shit. These kids are not going to listen to somebody just talk a hole in their head about what they should and shouldn't be doing. You have to have something to show them you know what the fuck you're talking about.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's the difference. So if you just the wino on the corner, which is what we got, that's telling you, hey, young blood, you need to go ahead and get off the street with that. This ain't about you. I know your mother, she with blah, blah, blah.
But that was his example.
Today's kids, that doesn't move them. If you are a successful business owner and you double back, they're going to listen. If you have something to show. If you are somebody prominent in the community that's well respected, they'll listen. If you're a regular somebody, you have nothing to really show, then they're not going to listen. Now, granted, I'm going to state this again because Faith shaking his head like bobblehead.
I disagree because
Nothing is 100%.
We know it's not 100%.
It's going to always be some. They don't care what you say. I'm already in this life.
Well, I'm going to agree with you because 51-49 is a majority.
Thank you.
So I'm going to agree with you.
Say it again.
I said 51-49. 51 is a majority.
And that's all I'm saying. So at the end of the day, why I said in the beginning of the conversation, a lot of the things we were taught were wrong, he just brought it to fruition. We can't give back to these kids and truly teach them shit because we don't know shit.
Well, Paul, the thing about where I think I differ from you is we both own our own companies. The problem is these youngins, and I talk to them about my past to right now. They want now.
Right.
They don't want what you took to get there.
That microwave society.
So I can talk to them about where I had to not pay electric bill to pay the light bill. I'm talking about what I gave up to do this. How I lost friends along the way to get where I am now.
Right.
All they see is now.
So let me.
They don't see the struggle
The end
that it
result.
took
They
to
see the end
get you
result.
your own shit.
So let me give you a
That's the
different.
problem.
So no. The problem is you. I know it's a tough pill to
Nah,
swallow.
I mean, tell me.
Tough pill to swallow. Problem is you. Let me
Tell
tell you
me.
why. Problem is your approach. Show them step by step what you had to do. Don't just have a general conversation.
I
and
have
say,
brought kids through mentorships, and
show
they don't
them-
take it.
Show them step by step.
Then it ain't for them.
And here's a
Exactly.
step. No.
I've walked them through it.
Listen. Step further. Converse with them on a daily basis after the fact. Because here's what you're missing. I can tell a kid something today. I might not see that kid again till next Tuesday. Everything in his ear from Wednesday to that next Tuesday goes totally against what I said. What do you think he's going to listen to? And then you taking it like he just not listening to you. Nah, again, majority rules.
with
What
you.
he's around the most and what he hears the most is what he's going to absorb the most.
I get it.
So you have to put more effort into it to reach that kid.
I don't think that's the answer. This is what I think the answer is.
That goes
I
back
think
to relationship.
I think
Whatever dog you
I
feed
think
the most, that's the one you gonna get.
I think the answer is sometimes.
No, you teach them how to get their food.
Sometimes
We all gotta eat.
he might come along because of the way a plant works. You want a plant to grow, he comes along with the seed. He comes along with the water. He comes along with the light. He makes the deposit. It takes a village.
It's intrinsic.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
So he might have started it. A seed was planted somewhere. That kid remembers something. He may meet somebody else
Yeah.
a couple years later. They run into me.
That's true.
Oh, son, oh, that's what. What's his name?
Face.
That's what Face was talking about, and it starts clicking.
Yep.
You're not meant to get everything at once. Sometimes sometimes you're the water. Sometimes you're the sunlight. Sometimes you're the whatever the part is.
So, real quick, explain to me what I said that you disagree with. Because you just said the
You
same
said
thing
he was
I
doing
said.
it wrong. That's whack. That's
He
not
is-
right.
That is right.
Yeah, you don't say he's doing it
That
wrong.
is right.
He playing his part.
When you are a teacher and you are mentoring, you are as good as the kid that you reach.
What he's
Wrong
saying,
answer.
what,
No.
what he's saying, what he's saying is you can't.
That
you
sounds
can't
like
be,
toxic
hold on.
masculinity.
What he's saying is that
You know what he's saying?
One person cannot be the seed, the water, and the light.
What did I say?
I'm telling you what his perspective.
But what did I say? Because he said he disagreed with me.
He said a whole bunch of shit.
What I said was, and I'm gonna use his terminology. If Face plants the seed, right? Face only sees this kid every Tuesday. What this kid sees from the time he leaves Face that Tuesday at 3 p.m. till he sees Face again the next Tuesday at 2 p.m. If nobody is teaching him how to water the seed, what the expectations are from the instructions of what to do with that seed,
And I agree with that.
But who's to say you didn't
Yeah,
give him that?
so now you want to be a parent.
what is Face supposed?
Now you wanna be a
what
parent
is
now.
Face
Yeah,
supposed to
everybody
do when he
wanna
comes
move
back? What is Face supposed to do when he comes back if he's the mentor? Nobody else taught him this, so I'm going to teach him. So again, you are as good as the kid you reach.
Well, so I say this. The one great thing.
What he said, no. What he said is passing the fucking buck.
The one great.
I planted
I
the
know.
seed. Somebody else teach him how to grow it. That's what he said.
The one great thing that just came out of this was what you stated was if Face was to see him on Tuesday and then he doesn't see him again until the following Tuesday. That was a profound statement because realistically, what needs to happen is, you spoke about it earlier, it takes a village. If Face sees him on Tuesday, Butter needs to see him on Thursday, Paul needs to see him on Sunday or Saturday. It's the village. When you only have one person that's trying to mentor
Single
all of these
points
kids,
of failure. You don't want to do
That's
your
the
part
key.
because you want him to do
that's the
everything.
key. It's gonna take all of us. It takes that village.
Single point of failure.
So if we put it on one person, they're gonna always not get what they're supposed to. But
This
if
is
you
funny.
put it on 2 or 3 guys to be able to mentor a group, then that completes that week. And if we go for 4 months, that's 12 weeks. Or we go for 3 months, that's 3 months, that's 12 weeks. That means that they're seeing 3 different people throughout those 12 weeks, and they can get a more complete, holistic view.
And they're reinforcing
So
that
I agree
information.
with you said.
And
If
I'm
only
sure,
face is seeing them on Tuesday.
right.
Let me spin this another way, then maybe you'll understand.
Do I understand
We
quite
all,
well.
we all grew up from kids to adults, right? During your learning stages, which was pre-adolescent, let's say middle school to college.
Right.
During your learning stages, who had more of an imprint on that? Your parents or your peers in your environment, what you did?
It depends.
Absolutely.
It depends.
It's
It
like-
definitely depends.
It doesn't depend.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
What?
It doesn't depend.
And I'll tell you,
It doesn't
both.
depend.
Both.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah,
Both.
it depends. Yeah.
Because if I'm spending
had
all
more influence on the things you did?
Easy.
what part
I'm
did
telling
you
you what.
understand? I said both.
You can leave your house with the same morals and values.
I know shit
your-
that you did that your father would not agree with. So I don't want to hear that bullshit.
My
So,
father
your
knows shit that I
peers-
did that he don't
Yeah.
agree
Your
with.
peers, your
No.
peers
Hold on,
have more
no,
influence.
I'm
I
about to
know
tell
shit
you.
you did that you wouldn't have done, that you regret to this day.
But what I'm saying
That
is,
your father should have whooped your ass.
it depends.
And he
though.
probably did when you...
Hey, look, it depends, right? Because you can leave a house with the same morals and values you raised on, but you an animal in the streets.
But you making this point.
This
No,
is
no,
what
no,
I
No,
mean.
I'm not disagreeing
No,
with
no,
him.
no.
I'm saying there is not one single point of failure.
There,
It's
That's the
both.
key.
two
It's
things.
both.
Two
Yeah,
things
it's
can
both.
be
It's
true at
both.
once.
The thing is,
Two things can be
it's
true at
with your
once.
Yes, it
peers,
can.
though.
Yes, it can.
with your peers.
Because,
That's what I'm saying.
we
It
can,
depends.
when we make the right decisions, we listen to what our parents were telling us. When we make those wrong decisions, we wanted to do what our friends were doing, or else we were the leaders, the one to get our friends in
There's
trouble.
a higher probability you did what your friends wanted to do, and when your ass got in trouble and your parents found out, now you learned the hard way.
You absolutely got to speak for yourself. Because I'm scared of my mama, so yeah. You got to speak for yourself on that one. I can't. I can't. I'm scared of my mother.
Don't say that, because Paul going to tell you you're wrong.
And he going to tell me I'm sorry for being a beta.
I ain't live with
He
him.
gonna tell me I'm
I
being
didn't
a
live
beta.
with him.
That's what I'm
If
saying,
he's
so
scared,
you
if he's
can't-
scared with his mother, he's scared of his mother. Me, however, I know plenty of dudes that was scared of their mother. They did shit. They just made sure their mother didn't find out.
Two things can be true at once. You
Yeah,
just
but you
move
ain't
what I
gonna be right.
said.
So-
You
makes
ain't,
it
you ain't
both.
that,
So-
don't nobody bet 1,000.
So what I said, this entire podcast, ladies and
Hey, go
gentlemen,
look into the camera.
nothing is 100%, but majority rules.
Majority.
So, when
Let me
you
get you a
have the
shirt to say
majority
that.
of the people moving a certain way, that causes a culture shift, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
but
That's
guess
fair.
what?
That's
What
fair.
about those individuals who followed their friends when they were younger, but they still had their parents' influence in their head, and as they got older, they decided to make that change and go the route that they were supposed to go?
It's called peer pressure at first.
Which means that they listen to both.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
that's all I stated from the beginning.
That's what I said.
See, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is
What we have is a failure to
when
communicate.
you have a bunch of alpha males that just want to be right instead of
I'm
listening.
not an alpha. I'm just a male. I
Because
don't know what
we
you're
can
talking
all give an example of something. I can give you an example of a kid whose parents, born and raised in the church, their parents own their own congregation, all that. This dude chose to sell drugs, be in the street. Now he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, well, we know about the PK daughter, so we
We
already
can
know how that
we can give an example for anything.
son.
Uh-oh, yeah, he's a PK son.
We can give an example for anything. Point is, one more time,
Both can be
nothing
right.
is 100%. But majority rules.
I want to touch on this one point because I really didn't like what you said that if somebody that basically the teacher failed, the
Right.
student doesn't. Okay, I'm not gonna put you quite out there, but you're a trainer. So if
I
somebody
failed as a teacher.
Hey,
You know-
oh.
You know why? You know why I failed as a teacher?
Let me have him. Fuck him. Say what you got to say.
You know why? You know why I
That's
failed
my
as a
man,
teacher?
50 grand.
You know why I failed as a teacher? Because if I would lead by example more, and they can see the results, you're more prone to do.
That's not your responsibility.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
I
As a
want to go
teacher.
home and eat all
Absolutely
the
is
crap
my
I wanna eat.
absolutely is my responsibility as a teacher. Now, if I'm not teaching you, then no, I don't give a fuck what you do. Eat 55 of these. I could care less. But once you come to me and you hire me and you're paying me, 100% is my responsibility. However, you're comparing apples and oranges because I train adults for the most part, and we're talking about a kid and adult trying to groom them and raise them right.
Yeah, but
Those
you
are
better
two
not eat
different
that
things.
cheap pizza.
Those are two different things. As an adult trying to mentor a kid,
Right.
you are only as good as the kids you reach.
So not true.
But you are not the parent. You are the mentor.
You play
You
sports?
have that. You have
No,
that
no.
child.
For some individuals, the mentor is the parent. In some households,
That is 100%
the
true.
mentor is the parent.
But I wasn't even gonna go there. You play sports?
Yeah.
What was your coach?
My father.
Oh. So how are you disagreeing with what I'm saying again?
Because in some households, it's not the same thing.
Listen,
It's not the same thing.
10 minutes ago, ladies and gentlemen, I said the problem in comprehension with Face is it's not that he disagrees with what we're saying.
You don't understand.
His focus is on the negative side of the fence.
No, it's on the positive side. All positive. All positive.
So let me-
Never negative.
Let me-
Never
let me-
negative.
let me-
Not
let me
one
help.
time.
Let me help. You know me to be academic or whatever. I failed geometry.
Yeah, you was on. It's academics, as a matter of fact.
I failed geometry.
I told you we were doing two different things in college.
That wasn't the teacher's fault. That was my fault for being lazy.
Oh,
But I can't blame. I'm saying it's being accountable. We talking accountability. I can't blame the teacher. Say, "Oh, he ain't teach me right. He ain't put all the numbers in my head for me to pass the test." No, I failed because I was distracted. I was lazy.
I have a question. You failed your first geometry quiz. What did the teacher do?
Gave it back to me and said, "I need to work on some things."
He failed. The teacher should have told your ass to come at a certain time for tutoring. The teacher should have asked your ass, did you need help comprehending and
When
understanding
you got
information?
30 kids in the classroom, come on, Paul.
So what's your
Then
basic-
you have a block of time with a child that you know but you don't know to give them as much as you can give them in that block
You know what you're
times
displaying?
30.
You know what you're displaying? You're displaying a problem with society. You know what that is? You know what that is?
Tell me, Paul. I don't know.
You're too individualized to invest more time. If it's not done in this said time,
When they paying me $47,000 a year, I'm
you
investing.
just said it.
I'm
If it's not
investing.
done in this said time that I'm on the clock, then fuck it.
But you got
That's
30
not,
other students,
that's
Paul.
not how that works.
You gonna do that for every student?
Yes, God damn it, that's your job as a teacher.
All right, well, you need to be
Our
president.
teachers did it with us,
President.
if you recall.
Not mine, but okay.
No. Well, maybe that's the problem.
I was a great student, so it ain't matter to me.
So you didn't need it. So you speaking on something you have no knowledge of. Shut the fuck up!
Needless to say,
That was
as
important.
I know where I failed, where I wasn't accountable for my own schoolwork. So I'm not putting that on my high school geometry teacher.
Granted, however, when you're talking about an adult trying to groom a child, especially when we get into masculinity and talking about men trying to groom boys into young men.
Right.
If your mentality is, ironically, the same problem you just had with them and saying they want it right now. If your mentality is they not grasping it right now, so I'm going to give up.
Nah, you don't give
No,
up.
that's not. He's not saying that they're not grasping it right now. They want right now results, is what he's
No,
saying.
I'm saying you
No,
as a
him, I'm
teacher.
talking about him.
So, like I said, ironically, as a teacher, because they not getting it right now, and your excuse is, oh man, I got 30 other kids, I can't invest no more time in
No,
them.
that's not. I mean, if I'm listen, Linda, listen. If I'm in that, I'm speaking for me as an instructor, so I really have a point of reference.
Have you ever been a teacher?
Yes,
What have you taught?
fucking great one. ITC Tech,
What have you taught?
several computer classes.
Have you had kids that wasn't getting it?
Yeah,
And what did you do?
I work with them. I send them emails. I did what I was supposed to do.
All the shit I'm saying to do that you just sat there and disagreed with.
Okay, but here's the next question.
That's because-
Did they still fail?
Did they still
Did
fail?
some of them still fail?
A few of them did.
Okay.
I mean, but I'm not responsible for that. I'm going to give you all of the tools that you need to be successful.
You can't make these people up.
If I'm giving it to you, if I'm giving you all that I got, as far as understanding, breaking it down, and you still don't get it, that's not my responsibility.
In that case, you're right.
90% of it is.
His geometry teacher ain't give him all he
You
got.
gotta give-
he
you
ain't
gotta
give this
give me
nigga all
something.
he got because he waited the next Tuesday. So that shit don't matter what you say.
Oh, my God.